Well, this is Cardo's Media, and yeah, don't blame the messenger. Yeah.
Yo, you don't know, this is Trilogy, straight out of Dominica, and you're tuned in to Cardo's Media. Don't blame the messenger. Boom!
Okay, good morning to each and everyone. This is Fido, your boy Fido, and we have Mr. Gregor Nassief with us. We're gonna have a talk with him regarding the reality of visa restrictions. If you just share the live to somebody. Don't hesitate to share the live to somebody. I know this is a very important conversation we need to have. Yes, somebody might say visa. We had been in visa ban since last year, but I think we really need to revisit the reality of such implications it might have on us. So, without further ado, I'm gonna give Mr. Gregor Nassief to introduce himself and just to start off with a conversation. Go ahead, sir. You're not hearing? Can you hear me? You not hearing me at all?
Okay?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Okay, cool. I'm hearing you now as well. So sorry,
All right,
I lost the last couple of things you said.
Okay, yeah, I was just saying that we're gonna have a discussion with you regarding the visa restrictions, and persons might say, well, we've been on a visa ban since last year, but we need to have a talk with the reality of such things and the implication it may have on us. So I was giving you the opportunity to just introduce yourself and to begin the conversation quickly.
Sure, Frederick. So my name is Gregor Nassief, and I am involved in the hospitality and tourism sector here.
Mm-hmm.
And I obviously, like most of us, travel to the US from time to time. And I had a 10-year visa, and I traveled to Barbados to renew it with my wife. My visa expires in August, and hers expires like next week or something. So we traveled last week and went through the normal process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as is known, our visas were denied, and the reason stated by the person was that there was a visa ban on Dominica. Yes.
Let me just ask you this question before going further into the discussion. Did that come to a shock to you, or you were expecting that to happen eventually in the inevitable?
We did not know. So I think the visa ban has actually been really in effect from January, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And obviously, it persons that hold a valid visa are free to continue traveling. So it really applies to those who are going for a new visa from scratch,
Mm-hmm.
or like us, who have a visa that is expiring and we want to renew it. So my wife had very low expectations, but I had some hope, and so we went really not knowing what the outcome would be, But like we do for storms, we were prepared for the worst, but hoping for the best.
Aye. One thing I wanted to draw a reference on is just tell us briefly how, as a businessman, how that can negative impact you, because I know that some business deals and discussions, they want to have it in person.
Yeah, no, sure.
And
I mean, I don't.
I know a lot of business, when you're talking about serious business deals, they want to have it in person. You can see an example, for instance, when heads of states have to discuss on certain things, they want to do it in person, they want to do it on Zoom. So how as a business person, how can that negatively impact you?
No, the impact is very significant, but also I don't want to compare the impact to me from a business perspective
Mm-hmm.
on parents who want to travel to the graduation of their child, or to someone who has a relative that's very sick and they need to travel to visit them or with them for medical care, or someone that needs to travel to a funeral, or a student who gets accepted and they're not able to attend school overseas. So for me, these are the tragic parts of this
Yeah,
ban.
I
That's
remember, I remember, I remember thinking for personal development, so to speak, not even a business person. That is very devastating. You know, a lot of
yeah,
persons have the
and
opportunity. Advice. A lot of persons have the
yeah,
opportunity to to go abroad and to develop themselves personally, and right now that is the reality for Dominicans.
yeah, and
Moving,
but
well, go ahead,
sorry, Frederick. I just want to now talk about the impact on me, which is
go
what
ahead,
you was asked. So just from a family situation, my wife's mother is 87 and she lives in Florida, and she's not able to travel because of her age. So my wife will not be able to travel to see her. From a business perspective, from a tourism perspective, I travel to the States very frequently to promote Dominica. Dominica is still not known at all. Just just in, gosh, where are we now? We're in June. In April of this year, I traveled to Charlotte, Philadelphia, and Atlanta. I met with 81 travel agents and I presented them all the reasons why they should travel to Dominica, what's exciting, because you know they they advise their clients on where to vacation. They don't know about the island. Less than five of them could tell me anything about about Dominica. So from a tour, and of course the U.S. is our largest market. So from a tourism perspective and from a business perspective, the impact for me personally is very significant. I also have a software business, which is my main business. I started it straight out of school. It's 30, going on to 33 years old. And it is a leading technology player in Central and South America. And we operate there um, very successfully, and we've just expanded the business to the US, and we've just set up an office there, and I've been also traveling there for that. So there's no question, and then I've just been appointed to take on the presidency of the CHTA from the end of this year, so the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association. And for that association, I need to travel as well, obviously. So the impact for me is very, very significant. But again, I want to say that that is small compared to someone who needs to travel for healthcare or needs to travel for really significant family reasons. And that's where I'm very concerned. And I feel that we've not really started to digest the implications of this ban because it's very new, and so persons are now seeing, boy, my visa will expire, next month, or in 3 months I have to go to Barbados to try to renew it, and so more and more people are going to be faced with this. Now, there is the off chance that this is more about me and it's not about the ban. So the US has decided that they don't want to renew a visa for me personally. So, and you can never tell. Although the guy told me this is the ban, I still want to encourage persons to continue to try, especially if it's an emergency situation, because I'm sure in some particular cases they will show a level of discretion. I would hope so. Yeah.
Okay, I know we have to shorten the live stream to about 20 minutes. We're 9 minutes in.
So
What
I
I want to ask
can.
you, what I want to
Mhm.
ask you is, so amidst the visa restriction, the visa ban, are you confident that the government is taking the necessary steps to try to lift that ban?
Well, I know a little bit that the government has engaged the U.S. authorities. I don't know the details of it. I know that the U.S. Uh, has stated that the reason for the ban is concerns about the CBI program, right? But
Mhm.
there are stated reasons and there are unstated reasons. So we know what the stated ones are. And we have to keep in mind that Antigua and also Dominicans and Britain and Kitts and Grenada all have CBI programs, but the ban at first it was targeted specifically to us and to Antigua, and they have recently put what I would call a less restrictive um, policy on Grenada, which came into place last month. So, we don't really know what is at play exactly. I would also suspect that the geopolitical angles and the considerations of the relationships with Cuba, with Venezuela, China may be at play. We really don't know. But from a citizenship by investment angle, I do think our program has very serious issues that have not been properly dealt with, and certainly I'm not sure if those are what the concerns are. But from a compliance, from a transparency, from a governance perspective, there's a lot of work that needs to be done on our CBI program, if that is in fact the target of the ban.
Okay. All right. Boy, I don't know. I don't even know. So then, because I looking at it really and truly from a medical perspective, to be honest, if there's a medical emergency, but I think they would actually have something in place for that. Won't you think? A medical
Yes,
emergency, and at least they could expedite or
I,
put you on special status.
I would be hopeful that if someone is in a medical crisis and needs to go to the US, I would be hopeful that there's a level of discretion that would allow that. However, I have a very close friend whose wife is in a difficult situation in the US, and he applied for the visa, and he was also turned down. So maybe if the medical crisis had applied to him personally, so it was he that had
Yes.
to seek care, maybe they would have allowed it. But we really don't know. And that's why I don't want for persons to assume that they're not going to get through. Particularly for critical circumstances, I suggest that you go and you travel and you try.
Wow. Okay. Let me just give you. I can give you a chance to do to give me at least your what would be your expectations. I mean, maybe persons from the government is listening. What if you have to say anything to them, particularly regarding this issue we're facing and the reality of it, and we all know the kind of implications it can have on us based on our situations. We're not saying everybody can have a medical situation, but it may just so happen, it may just so arise. So if you have anything to say, if you'd address or maybe to make a remark to a government official who is directly linked to the CBI program, what would you tell them?
Well, I would say a few things. First of all, we need to protect our sovereignty, right? So I don't think it's fair for any country to ask us to do something that we're doing well, or to end a relationship with a third-party country that's important to the um, development of the island. So I think the sovereignty of uh, Dominica is key. Specific to the CBI program, I would advise that we clean it up. It's not cleaned up. There's a lot that is still taking place that needs fixing, and I won't go into details, but it's something that I have dealt with the Prime Minister for 8 years. I've been pleading with him to stop certain activities that are hurting the program. And what we need to realize is that, Vic, sorry, I'm hearing typing.
Yeah.
Not sure if there's someone on a keyboard. If there's a listener that's typing, I'm not hearing properly. You're on mute now. You're on mute now.
Yeah, I heard a little feedback there. I was just trying to figure out if it's on my end or your end. I'm not too
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, I think it was your end, maybe. It was your end. But anyway, so I think one of the things to really there are two important angles on this, right? So what I would love to have now in my hand is another passport. If I had a St. Lucia passport or St. Kitts passport or Barbados passport, I wouldn't have an issue. But I have a Dominica passport and there's a ban on this passport. And I'm saying that just so people understand the value of second citizenship and people understand where CBI comes from and why it does well as a program. Because there are people all over the world whose passport is restrictive. They cannot travel here, they cannot travel here, they can't get a visa. So for them, for their family, for their medical care, for education, for investment, business, they want a second passport and they're willing to invest in that. So I'm just trying to say here that this should also help us understand why CBI is an industry and why so many people seek to have a second passport. At the same time, it's incredible now to be in a situation where many persons seek a Dominica passport, but having a Dominica passport is a restriction to travel to the US, right? Now, something that's very important to understand, and this is where the government needs to listen.
Mm-hmm.
What gives our passport value? Why do persons want to invest in citizenship into Dominica, into St. Lucia, into Grenada, into Antigua? And we have to keep in mind that there are 80 plus countries throughout the world that offer citizenship or residency by investment in one form um, or another, right?
Mm-hmm.
Peter, you're still there, right? I'm seeing Cardo. I'm not
Yeah, I'm there.
seeing
I'm there.
Frederick.
Good
Okay,
morning,
cool.
Mr. Nassif. How are you?
Yeah, Carlo just joined us there. That's the co-host.
Okay, cool. Hi, Cardo. So the point I'm making and what I would like government to take this time
You
on.
don't cut your mic.
Yeah, yeah. If there's something I would like for the government to listen to, it is that we need to understand what gives our passport value is the ability of people to travel on it, right? So if we're issuing passports to persons who are showing up at the UK border or the US embassy for a visa or at the borders to the EU, it means that it's access to these countries, the third-party countries. It's not that our passport is so great. It's that if you can use that passport then to travel for medical, for education, for business, that's what gives it value. Which means that the value of our passport is dependent on access to other countries, and therefore we must absolutely respect and be sensitive to the concerns of those countries, because if they think that persons with our passports are coming to their borders and showing up by the thousand, that is a security risk for them, unless our program is perfectly managed, it's transparent, it is compliant. Everyone complies with the law, and that is where we are weak. Our program needs to improve its compliance. It needs to improve its transparency, and the government and the governance of the program is absolutely lacking. And this is an issue that I've been speaking to the PM on for years now. So again, when you're dealing with the US, you don't necessarily know if the stated reason for the ban is the actual reason for the ban. So they've stated that it's a CBI program, but it could also be the relationship with Cuba, with Venezuela, and there could be other things at play. But if the stated reason is CBI, then I would absolutely focus on doing everything we need to do to clean up the CBI program.
So, good morning again, Mr. Nassief. How are you?
I'm fine, Carlo. How are you?
I'm trying to be great like you. Um, my question for you this morning. I'm sorry for joining in late. I was on something else. I heard you stated that the CBI program there's 80 something countries you said around the world that does that program, right?
Correct. And in fact, the leading citizenship by investment program in the world is actually Portugal,
Okay.
which is a European country. So, in principle, a CBI program could be a very valuable thing to a country, but it has to be managed properly, obviously.
Okay. So what improvement do you see that we could do for Dominica's program to make it more transparent and for the people who are looking in on our program to at least accept our program as a legitimate or viable program?
I mean, you can look at it from an international partner perspective, or you can look at it from someone that actually wants to purchase citizenship
Okay.
and to use a passport. And those are two separate angles. From an international partner perspective, they want to ensure that you're not putting their borders at risk. That's the primary concern, because if someone gets a Dominica passport, that person now has visa-free access to the EU, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
so the primary thing is to be extremely grateful for visa-free access, and grateful to be able to travel to the US, although you need a visa to be able to go and to get a visa. Now we have a visa ban. So from an international partner perspective, they want to make sure that the program is well run, that the right character of persons are obtaining citizenship, that we're doing our due diligence properly, that our laws are complied with, that if we say that citizenship costs $200,000 and up, that we're not selling passports for $70,000, because if we're doing that, we will sell 10 times more, the volumes will be that much greater, and that many more people are going to be showing up at your border with a Dominica passport. So there's several from a governance perspective, a compliance perspective. They also want to know that the program is transparent. How is the money used? Which accounts is it flowing in and out of? Is it a legitimate program? So if I was in the shoes of the US or the EU or the UK, of course I'd be concerned, and because I would want to be 100% focused on ensuring that the third-party countries that our economic citizens are accessing are comfortable with the way we're running our program, right? So that is from an international partner perspective. From a buyer of citizenship perspective, you also want to know that the program is being properly run, that the money is being put to good use, that there's full transparency. But there are two types of persons who are looking for second citizenship. Yes, those that need to travel more freely. So if I am an Egyptian or someone from Nigeria, and I need a visa to go to the bathroom, basically. I can't travel anywhere. It's very difficult. Then
Hmm.
a second passport is of incredible value to my family, to me, to business, and so on. So there are those persons, and for them, the most important thing, and this is important, the most important thing is access to as many countries as possible, ideally visa free. But if, like the US, it's not visa free, you have to apply for a visa with your Dominica passport. They want to know that there's a good chance they'll be able to get that visa. So they are looking to travel more freely. Now, with the visa ban on Dominica right now, that hurts us. That really hurts us from the person who is looking for the best passport to travel with, right? And then the second type of person who is seeking second citizenship is what we call Plan B. So imagine there's someone who lives in the US and they don't like the policies of
The U.S.
President Trump.
government. Mm.
Yeah. And they don't know if they want to continue to live there in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. They want a plan B. They're thinking, well, what if things go in a direction that I'm not comfortable with? And it applies to both sides. You can have a person on the far right who felt that a president on the far left is going to create a country that you're not happy to be in. And that applies to the US, to England, to France, Germany, all over the world.
Yeah.
So those persons are looking for a plan B. Well, let me have a second passport or a third passport just in case I decide, just in case I decide that I want to leave, right? And for me, for Dominica, there's a tremendous opportunity here because these are people that could actually come and invest here and also live here and create employment here and so on. So Plan B citizenship is now becoming also very, very important, and we also have to position ourselves for that.
Okay. I have another question. So recently you were denied visa access to the US.
Correct.
And how does that impact your business, or in a sense that as a businessman outside of the hotel industry and getting being the president, how does that affect you and your business?
Well, um, as I explained um, earlier,
Earlier. My bad, I'm
from the
sorry.
it's okay. From a hotel perspective, I was just in the US. I was in Charlotte, Philadelphia, and Atlanta, and I met with 81, I think, travel agents. And my whole purpose of the trip was to present them, to introduce them to Dominica, all of the beauty, everything we have to offer. It was incredible to me, but always less than 5% of those people know anything about
About
Dominica.
Dominica.
There's a lot of time, and they're always super excited. They say, "But this island is amazing. How could I not have known about it?" And then, of course, I talk about Secret Bay, Fort Young, and I also talk about um, the the other properties on island and so forth. So from a hotel and business perspective, of course, it's a huge blow because now I can't make those trips anymore. But that's okay. We'll find someone else in the organization who's able to make those trips. But that's hurtful to me because I love selling the island, right?
Okay.
Um, and then I am the owner of a software company which I created straight out of school. It's 33 years old now, Circle Technology, and it's the leading supply chain technology company throughout Central and South America. It's been like very successful, and that's what I studied. The hospitality side was an accidental adventure when I came back to Dominica to live, but the software side is really what I focus on. And we've just opened offices in the US, and that's a huge investment. I've been spending a lot of time there as well, so that's a huge blow.
Okay.
But again, we have a strong team, and they can go and they can do the things that I would be doing there. And then from a personal perspective, My wife's mother is 87. She's not able to visit us anymore. She's in Florida, and so my wife will not be able to visit her. But as I was explaining to Frederick, the for me those things are minor compared to the parent who wants to travel to be at their son's graduation, or the person who needs to travel to see a member of the family who's very ill, who wants to
Okay.
go to a funeral, who the young boy who's accepted to school in the US and his dreams are tied to this acceptance
Yes.
and he cannot go now. So this is the tremendous human cost of this, right? Um, and that is my concern. And as I've expressed several times, I want to encourage people to continue to try to get a visa, although the ban has started since um, earlier this year,
Yeah.
especially if it is a medical situation, then go and try. I'm hopeful that in some particular cases they will have the discretion and the humanity to grant a visa. And I also want to emphasize that I don't think that's the case, but if this is about me more than about the ban, there's something the US doesn't like about me and they don't want me to travel to the US. That's always a possibility. And I would actually hope that that's the case and that are able more people are able to get through, that it's less about a blanket strict ban and maybe more about me.
Okay.
Um, I have I am from I am from Dominica, and we have a visa ban. My wife is from Venezuela. Venezuela has a visa ban. My mother is from Haiti. Haiti has a visa ban. So, so who knows
Okay.
what the reasons are? Who knows what the reasons are?
Okay.
So I just I just hope that people continue to try and then keep the pressure on. I do not think a population of a country should be held hostage because of some policies of the government that the US is not happy with. I think that the interrelatedness, the way that our lives are entwined with the US from a business, from a medical, from an education perspective, I think it's very, very unfair to cut persons off from access to what has been a
The
very
norm.
important part of their life for so long. And it also hurts the US because it is the US airlines that are servicing us. And if there are less people that are taking up seats on that airline, less persons from the Caribbean traveling up, that's going to hurt. Less persons will stay in terms of the hospitality sector, travel, vacation a from a from a medical and an education perspective. I mean, we pay for school fees, we pay for tuition, we pay for medical care, we go shopping, we have
Hmm.
investments. So this hurts both sides, and it really needs to end, and we need to figure out what the issues are. We need to solve them, and I think the United States has to have more compassion on ordinary people who need to travel to the U.S.
Okay. I have a someone asked, could you give us a little bit more details on the software that you talked about earlier?
Yeah, the company is called Circa, CERCA. You can search it up. It's supply chain optimization software. So for companies with very large and complex inventory, warehousing, transportation, and logistics operations, our software helps to optimize that.
Okay.
Whether it's large retailers or supermarkets or wholesalers or distribution companies. Yeah, so our software is operating in over, I think, 400 distribution centers in 17 countries throughout South and Central America.
Sensible. Okay.
Yeah, that's a company I started straight out of school many, many years ago.
All right. So recently there was a laying off of airport workers. Do you think that the visa ban or visa restrictions right now could be part of that cause of why they, because I said certain airlines right now, the United Airlines isn't coming in right now, and Caribbean Airlines also has stopped flying into Dominica. So, do you think that could be part of the reasoning for such a layoff
No, when you said airport workers were laid off, where did that occur, Ricardo?
in Dominica? That happened last, I think, on Thursday, Wednesday or
I was
Thursday.
I was not aware of that.
Okay.
I was not aware of that. I'm not sure. It could be now. Um, yeah, but it's very important to understand this. So the United summer flight was cut, which was a blow for the industry because summer is slow. People need the airlift, and it was just a once a week flight, and that was cut because the load factors were not high, and the government was not willing to continue to pay the
Pay for
minimum.
seats.
Yeah, because it's very costly for a country to pay an airline to come. You need to fill the seats. And
Yes.
how do you fill the seats? You market the destination, and we're not doing a good job of that. And it's not the fault of VDA. They have a great marketing plan. They just do not get the cash from the treasury to execute that marketing plan.
Mm.
Um, so that's a huge issue. And then in terms of the Caribbean Airlines flight, I listened to the minister in Trinidad speaking to Parliament there, and he said that the Dominica route lost 700,000 US dollars, and so they were going to cut it. Now he also said in the same breath that the Guadeloupe and Martinique route lost $3 million, but they're going to continue to serve those markets at a lower frequency. So maybe they were doing 5 flights a week and now they're going to do 2 flights a week. I don't know. But it's
Okay.
very, very disappointing to us and it's a real blow to the tourism industry that these flights have been cut. And it's always very distressing for me when airlift within the Caribbean is cut because there's so much potential just within the Caribbean for persons from the Caribbean to
Caribbean.
vacation on business. There's so much more that could be done, and a huge issue there is also the taxes. So sometimes 50% of the ticket price you pay from Dominica to Barbados or from Barbados to Antigua is actually taxes. Whereas,
Taxes.
whereas globally, um, airfare taxes are typically around 15%, but in the Caribbean they're crazy, and we're killing ourselves by doing that. And the governments need to see that, you know. But this is a fight that has been going on for
For
20 years,
years.
and the taxes are not coming down; they're only going up, and it's very very hurtful to intra-regional travel. So when Cal cut such an important flight from one island to another, it hurts us for sure.
Okay. Um, I have some very very technical questions, but I don't know if you came prepared to answer those today.
Well,
So
I stay on for about 10 more minutes, so go ahead. I
okay,
will try. Whatever you want to ask, I will try.
do you as 2 days ago I think it was, or yesterday, you were at a conference, a press not a press conference, but a summit with the prime minister on the budgeting, the new 2027 budget or 2026 budget, I think it was. And what can you say to the general public now that came out from such a discussion? I saw you and several other stakeholders, they're having this discussion with the prime minister and others.
Yeah, I mean that that's a lot to comment on. I think that a lot of the persons that stood up to made a contribution, they were very valid, very sincere. I think they're very serious issues that we need to deal with. I think at the core of it, while the government's primary focus has been citizenship and infrastructure, what the government, in my opinion, does not do well is drive a sustainable economy that's generating jobs and creating economic activity. So we build a new airport that's going to cost us, I don't know, $50 million to operate every year, and but how are we going to create the demand through marketing to fill the seats on airlines that they want to come to Dominica because we can't afford to pay them? Um, from a private sector perspective, how do we get job growth, job um, growth? So I just think that I don't think the government has where's the private sector cap well at all. When the minimum wage was increased, which we fully supported, the private sector got 3 days notice of the rate increase from the day they told us what the new rate was to the date we had to implement it.
Implemented. Okay.
That shows a total lack of understanding and appreciation for how business works. We also have to budget. We also have to plan. We want to hire more people as well. So there's just a disconnect. And then I also raised the issue about the marketing. Simple things like our trails. People need to understand why people come to Dominica. People come to
Yep.
Dominica to experience our nature. That is our core asset. Are we taking care of it? No, our trails are not taken care of, and the government doesn't seem to get that, and the funds are not allocated for that.
For
And
that.
so people come here, they want to hike segment 7 or 8 or 9 of the Waikiki Trail, and they're told, well, it's not in good condition, it might take you 8 hours to get through, and it's just a disaster. And for me, it's a lack of priority. And again, it comes to understanding what creates the demand. What creates, why do people come? The product has to be pristine, and more and more people come. They'll spend more money. They'll use more guides. They'll create
Employment for somebody else.
Yeah, and then I also spoke about the citizenship program and the need to clean it up. There was, how do we get more cash into the treasury? Believe me, if we solve our problems with the citizenship program, if we stop discounting citizenship and funds flowing to third parties as opposed to the treasury, we could easily solve our cash problem. Easily, right?
Okay.
But that action has not been taken. I still can't understand why. So that some of those things came up, but I thought it was a very healthy
Discussion.
There were also very good questions about access to finance for small
businesses.
Yes, small enterprises, and I just think this country has so much enormous economic opportunity for persons to grow personally and also professionally, for young entrepreneurs to build a business. But if we don't connect the dots on what makes an economy work, we're not going to get there.
Okay. So my last question to you before your time is up. Your thoughts on a new perspective. What do you think? Where do you think we need to go as far as for Dominica to really grow? Do you think a change of government will make Dominica grow? Do you think the current government could stay in power and make certain changes to alleviate or to meet with the people? Where do you think? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, a government is the representation of the people. A country gets the government it actually deserves. So if we continue putting a government in office, then that's the government we'll have. So I'm not going to say that we need to change the government to change the country. The mindset of the people of the island need to want to change. And they need to see a credible option. And we all know what the situation is there, and I'm hopeful that there could be more options, and that we kind of see a way through this. I don't think a prime minister should be in office for 20 plus years. And I think if a leader is in office for 20 years and he has not created a succession plan where after 10 years someone is able to take over, then that in itself for me is a failure. So there's several things there that I think the country needs more choice, and leaders need to grow, and leaders need to have succession plans, and people need to see a future beyond a current personality, and all those things are at play. But I wrote an essay which was published on DNA called "A One National Park policy. And you're asking how I think the vision for the country could change.
Yes, sir.
And I think if we look at Dominica as one national park, if we understand the assets that we have from in terms of our natural assets, in terms of what gives value to Dominica, our land, our agriculture, our waterfalls, our trails, our hikes, our seas, our beaches, our reefs, our hot springs, our cold springs. These are God-given assets
That's it.
that give the country potential. Geothermal, which is fantastic. I'm very, very proud that we are transitioning to geothermal energy at a crazy cost to us, unfortunately. But thankfully, from a fossil fuel footprint and a sustainability perspective, I'm extremely proud of that. So if we identify our assets, our value, and the resources we have amazing people. Then if we put that at the core of our value and our strategy, we can transform the country and we can create tremendous opportunity for all. But we don't have a vision for that. It seems we want to follow the development path of everybody else without recognizing that what God has given us, we need to create our own development path. We need to create the vision that's right for the country.
Country.
And we're not doing that. And it
Okay.
is we have tremendous potential for sure.
Well, I would like to thank you for your time, Mr. Nassif, because I know you're a busy person. And yeah, I kind of see a genuineness in the approach and the development for Dominica because we have a lot of potential in Dominica and we need to exploit and stop following and be leaders ourselves in Dominica because we have the potential to do that. So we need people like you to be more outspoken though. We need people like you to be more outspoken.
I think I have been quite outspoken, but I will continue to be. I intend to continue to be.
Okay.
It's too important, and it's actually very, very sad that more people are not expressing their concerns. But that's the culture we are in. People do not speak up, and that's very bad for the country. Yeah.
Someone asked this question: has Mr. Nassif made a decision entering into the politics arena? If so, which constituency will he represent?
I I have not, and I have joked many times that if I were to run, I'd run in Vegas.
I like that answer. I like that answer.
But and and obviously, one of the reasons is that I love that part of the country, and I'd honestly like to spend more time there and meet the people there because I think that part of the country has enormous potential as well, and it's not being realized. So, yep.
Well, Mr. Nassif, thank you for your time. And anytime, Carlos Media is available for you to come through and express your thoughts. And we'd love to see you another time whenever you have availability.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the time.
Yes, sir. Have a great and productive day.
Thank you. You too. All the best. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Um, well, to the people who tuned in this morning to watch Mr. Nassif on Carlos Media, we'd like to thank you guys. And if you have any questions you want to ask us, put the questions in the comment box or send us an email. If you have any special person that you would like to see on Carlos Media asking questions to get questions answered, send us a message so we could try and reach out to that person and give you guys what you need. But I hope he was able to satisfy your curiosity and was able to answer some of your questions that was in connection with his recent inability to get his visa to the US. And he also would like others to keep on trying. Doesn't mean that because he didn't get through, that you might not get through. So keep on and be productive, be blessed, and let us develop Dominica, the best country in the world. Have a blessed and productive week and weekend. Bye.
Well, this is Cardo's media, and yeah, don't blame the messenger. Yeah.